Good evening, it's Mrs. Bolin, and we're doing the last two problems of our review. We're going to start off with problem number 28. Maybe we will. There we go, 28. And it says solve the rational equation. Make sure to exclude any values that make the denominator 0. In other words, exclude any values for x that are not included in the domain. So our equation looks like this. X divided by x minus 2 plus 1 divided by x minus 4 is equal to 2 divided by x squared minus 6x plus 8. So that is our situation. So let's go ahead and factor out the denominator here. We want to know what the factors are because I need to find out what is the LCM, or the LCD actually, at least common denominator is really what I should put down. Maybe I can get my screen to work right there. There we go, D. So that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to take a guess, an educated guess, that the factors of this are going to be something along the lines of x minus 4 and x plus 2, but I need to verify that. I just cannot assume that. So if I have x squared minus 6x plus 8, and I go to factor it, it's going to look like this. My factors are going to be positive, which means I'm going to have the like signs, and the sum is negative, so that means I have two negative numbers, and they must be factors of 8 that sum to 6, which indeed are going to be 2 and 4. So yes, my LCD is going to be x minus 2 times x minus 4. That's my LCD. So step one of this is going to be getting rid of the fractions, okay? Getting rid of the denominators here in each of these expressions. So I'm going to multiply each part through by the LCD. So I'm going to go x minus 2 times x minus 4, and I'm going to multiply that by x divided by x minus 2. And then I'm going to go plus, again, my LCD, x minus 2 times x minus 4. LCD is my least common denominator, multiplied by 1 divided by x minus 4. And now, again, whoops, I did not realize I was running into that same spot. So since we've already done the math there, we're just going to erase it. It's the beauty of having a computer, right? And coming back up and grabbing my ink. So that's going to be x minus 2 times x minus 4, and that's going to be multiplied by 2. And I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my denominator here in factored form of x minus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, now let's do simplification. My x minus 2 is gone. My x minus 4 is gone. My x minus 2 is gone. My x minus 4 is gone. What does that leave me left? That leaves me x minus 4 times x plus x minus 2 times 1, and that's going to equal 2 because all of this left. So now I'm going to distribute my x, so I end up with x squared minus 4x for right here, and then over here, so I'll just times 1, so it's plus x minus 2 is equal to 2. So I'm going to combine like terms and bring my 2 over, okay? Yes, this should have been an x squared. If I did not write that down, I don't know if the computer dropped it or if I forgot it, but either way, I caught it now, so we're good. So now I have, well, if I can write it, x squared. Negative 4 plus 1 is minus 3x minus 4 equal to 0. So now I'm going to want to solve here, and I'm going to try factoring it. So I'm going to put an x here, an x here, a negative here, which means I'm going to have a positive and a negative. My factors of 4 are 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Opposite signs, which means I must have a subtraction going on of 3. So I see that 4 minus 1 gives me 3, and my larger of the two values must be negative. So those are my factors. So therefore, x is equal to 4 and -1. Okay, so those are my initial solutions. But now I have to examine, are both of these contained within the domain? So let me change to this color. Are they both in the domain? That's the question. Well, what values are not in the domain? Anything that would make any of these fractions here go to 0. So +2 is not in the domain. +4 is not in the domain. So that means that right here, my +4 is not a solution. So the only solution that I actually have is going to be that x is equal to -1. Because if I were to take and plug in +4 into my original equations, right here I would end up with 4 minus 4, which is 0 in a denominator, which would make that undefined. It would also, right here, make this fraction undefined, and I cannot have that. So 4 is not in my domain, therefore it cannot be a solution. So the only valid solution is x equals -1. Alrighty, we have one more problem to solve, and that's going to be number 29, and then we will have completed the entire review. So let's come on over here, whoops, for number 29. I'm trying to hurry because my children have just gotten home and they're unloading the horses, and I know they're about to barge through the door. So we're going to go as fast as we can without skipping too many steps. So the original equation looks like this right here. Plus 1 over x is equal to 2 divided by x plus 1. Okay, so that's the original equation. The first thing we need to do is locate our LCD. Our LCD is going to be x times x plus 1. So we're going to do the same thing as we did just a minute ago. We're going to multiply this entire equation through by our LCD. So it's going to be x times x plus 1 multiplied by 1 divided by x times x plus 1 plus x times x plus 1 times 1 over x is equal to x times x plus 1 multiplied by 2 divided by x plus 1. Now let's go ahead and reduce what we can reduce. Our x plus 1 goes away, our x goes away, our x goes away, our x plus 1 goes away. And what do we have left? Over here we simply have 1 because the whole denominator disappeared and everything over here to the left disappeared. So I have 1. And then over here I have x plus 1 multiplied by 1, so I just have x plus 1 left. On the right hand side of my equal sign, I have an x right here and I have a 2. So that means I'm equal to 2x. Okay, so now we're going to combine like terms on the left. So we end up with 2 plus x is equal to 2x. We'll subtract x from both sides and we get 2 is equal to x. So that is our solution. But we need to make sure and double check, is 2 in our domain? 2 will not cause a problem there. 2 will not cause a problem there. So yes, 2 is in our domain, and therefore x equals 2 is our solution for this problem. Looking forward to having lots of hundreds to grade on our upcoming exam. A's are always easy to grade, so I hope these videos were helpful for you, and I hope that you will do well on tomorrow's exam. Have a good night.